The Water Diary, brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of The Water Diary, right in SABC 1, Zansu for sure. The show is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation and SABC Education. Today we're coming at you from Alexandra Township in Johannesburg. The Jutske River is the second most polluted river in South Africa. Today we find out how the Department of Water and Sanitation is fighting river pollution.
South Africa is a water-scarce country, and we source our drinking water from our rivers and dams. It's therefore very important to keep our rivers and dams clean. The Clear Rivers campaign is from the Department of Water and Sanitation. It's a nationwide campaign that makes sure that communities keep our rivers and dams clean. We now talk to our Minister, Nomvula Mkonyana, from the Department of Water and Sanitation, to tell us more about the campaign and the significance of celebrating it last year during Mandela Day.
Water is life, and if water is life, we have to make sure that it is quality water. You can't actually celebrate the life of President Nelson Mandela without actually making a commitment of saying, I will be part of those ordinary South Africans, such as the women here in Alexandra, who have come out voluntarily every day, making it the Nelson Mandela Day by cleaning Jutske, taking out dirt that comes from as far as Sandton up to this place. Not only dirt and waste that comes from Alexandra. And most importantly, appreciating that if we all are claiming President Nelson Mandela, what must unify us is this three. Each one of us must take ownership and responsibility on it. It is so close to the life and times of President Nelson Mandela. He lived in Alexandra. His selflessness was every day. And the Shumang women's selflessness is every day. They clean your waste, my waste, and the affluent's waste, because they believe that water is life and that a contaminated environment is at the detriment of building peace and unity. Because again, what President Nelson Mandela once said when he was talking about the Lesotho Highlands water, he said, this is a project that must unify the two nations. But Jutske also must be a river that unites the northern suburbs and the people of Alexandra. It must not continue to do this. And it's a quite befitting symbol for Nelson Mandela Day.
My name is Somizi Mhlongo. I'm the ambassador for water and sanitation. Basically what I'm trying to encourage people to do is to make sure that they look after their rivers, and if it's not them not littering or throwing stuff into the rivers, they must encourage other people or make sure that people don't throw in poisonous stuff or dirty stuff. You might take things for granted, like a bottle of empty bottle of cold drink or bottle of juice or bottle of milk, and thinking that it's non-hazardous or dangerous, and just throw it into the river. And little do you know that in time, you're not the only person that could be doing that. A lot of people could be doing that, and that will end up poisoning our water. And that's the same water that we need on a daily basis, whether for drinking or whether for cleaning or whether for washing, for anything. Water is like oxygen. Without water, we are nothing. So the same rivers that we are polluting is the same rivers that we're going to need water from. So the sooner we are conscious of taking care of that water, or taking care of the water in the river, the better our future is, and the safer and the happier we're going to be, because definitely without water, we are a dead nation, or we are a dead people. So I'm encouraging people to look after our rivers and realize that water is as important as oxygen.
I'm Dr. Lester Goldman, CEO of the Water Institute of Southern Africa, WISA. As WISA, we pledge our support to the Clear Rivers campaign. It is an important community project, and one that certainly will assist in the community awareness around the importance of keeping our rivers clean. Through our branches, our divisions, as well as our head office, we will be undertaking cleaning projects countrywide, and as our WISA head office, we will be undertaking a cleaning of the section of the Jutske River in this regard.
Fellow South Africans, our beautiful rivers became narrower and fetid due to illegal dumping of objects and toxic waste. Water is life, and it's our duty to protect and conserve this important life-giving gossamer. I pledge to clean the Moretele River in Mamelodi, where I was baptized many moons back.
My name is Mpumelelo Mkhabela. I am part of the Clear Rivers campaign because we think it's important that we conserve our water and we ensure continuous flow of this gift of life to all our people. My organization is going to be participating in this campaign by way of conscientizing society about the importance of conserving water through clearing our rivers of all unwanted weeds that cause toxic properties in the water. It's important because water, as we all know, is a source of life. And we have had droughts very lately. We have to use our water in a very economic manner to make sure that we don't run out. Water is important for many other things other than just drinking. Water is critical for running the economy as well as just consumption.
Celebrities have also realized the importance of keeping our rivers and dams clean. Oskido from Kalawa Jasmine took his time out to go and make sure that people sign a pledge to clean their rivers and dams in their communities.
We pledge to clear rivers! Yay!
For those of you interested in the Clear Rivers campaign, here are our details on the screen. We need drinking water and we source it from our rivers and dams. Let's keep it clean. Mpuputini spends time with Dr. Inga Jacobs from the CSIR. She tells us more about the Clean Our Rivers campaign.
Dr. Inga, why is it important to clean and maintain our rivers?
You know, Mpo, in South Africa, water is a very scarce and precious commodity, and the efficient management of our water resources has a direct benefit on our standard of living and also our economic benefit. And that's why the Clean Rivers campaign is so important, because it raises awareness and it draws attention to the implications of dirty rivers, which are felt not only at the direct source of pollution, but much further downstream. So for instance, the Jukskei River here behind us is very severely polluted because of urban runoff, but is also a major contributor to the eutrophication challenges in the Hartbeespoort Dam, which is way downstream.
What role does CSIR play in terms of our water resources?
The CSIR is a science council and is classified as a national government business enterprise that conducts multidisciplinary research and technology innovation in a variety of fields, but all for the benefit of the improvement of quality of life of South Africans. We have a dedicated water research focus area that conducts research across the entirety of the water cycle, and a large chunk of that research is on water quality and informing communities and stakeholders on the benefit of having clean water ecosystems. One of the projects that we are also very involved in is in Motetema near Groblersdal, which is looking at the development of an algae bioreactor to help assist with wastewater treatment. And as part of that, there's a big social component and a capacity building component also, where we go into communities and our scientists demonstrate their science to learners, particularly grade 11 and grade 12 learners, and we'll be out there on the 25th of July to teach them about what the benefits are for having a career in water science, and also what are the options out there for young people.
Please tell us about the Clean Rivers campaign.
The Clean Rivers campaign is a campaign in July, for the month of July, Mandela Month. And it's all around encouraging local communities to take responsibility for the cleanup of their surrounding areas, to take ownership of cleaning their rivers, and also to facilitate partnerships between government, communities and the private sector as well.
Generally speaking, what is the current status of our rivers?
You know, Southern Africa has quite a unique spatial development pattern in that most of our rivers or most of our urban centres are not located on lakes or seafronts. Pretoria, Johannesburg, further afield, Francistown, Bulawayo, Harare. They are all located on what we call the continental divide or the continental spine. And what this means is that water has to be pumped uphill to these urban centres. The result then is a return flow of sewage back downstream. And this has resulted in severe pollution and raw sewage inflow into our rivers. So there is quite a big challenge for South Africa to keep our rivers clean.
Dr. Inga, how can community members get involved in the Clean Rivers campaign?
As you can see behind us here, this is a very good example of a community getting directly involved. This is an initiative by the Johannesburg Metro, where they are encouraging communities to help with the river cleanup. There are initiatives like this happening in all of the provinces. So each province has effectively adopted a river, and there will be cleanups arranged throughout the month of July. Perhaps I should also say that should community members want to get involved, they can contact the Department of Water and Sanitation directly.
River pollution is a major problem in South Africa. What message do you have to South Africans about keeping our rivers clean?
Well, I would say that we have a joint responsibility to clean up our rivers because we all collectively benefit from a clean environment. I would also say that we need to take collective responsibility and report pollution when we do see it in our communities. And the Department of Water and Sanitation has a hotline. It's 0800 200 200, where communities, individuals can actually report pollution when they do see it. So water is life. We need to conserve it, and especially the rivers that are around our communities, we should try to keep that clean.
Utimpo, ngiyazi ukuthi benilokhu cleaner i-river. Sitshele kabanzi nge-experience yakho.
I-experience yethu yokucleana i-river sicleanela ukuthi ngoba sizoshotha amanzi lapha eSouth Africa. Manje abantu balokhu balathela izitho sifanele sizikhiphe to avoid land pollution.
Now, bangaki abantu abakusizayo la uclean i-river?
Ngiqashe abantu bayi-30.
Now, kanengi yini enifumanayo mani cleaner la i-river?
Cleaner mo rekhumana dimtja tse ba di lathelang mo, dikatse rekhumana diaparo, di-pampers tsa bana, kore ene dilo tse di sa batleng mo hara metsi.
Utimpo, what is your message to abantu emakhaya about keeping i-river clean?
Message wami for abantu ekhaya ukuthi sifanele sisebenzisane singalahleli idoti amanzini, and then if kune rubbish bafake ama plastic bageni bahambe bafake estrateni umasipala aze athathe not balahlele amanzini.
Utimpo, ngibonge kakhulu, asambe ke siyo clean i-river.
The Water Diary.
Welcome back to the Water Diary, right on SABC1 Mzansi for sure. Remember, we absolutely love hearing from you, so feel free to interact with us on social media. Our handles are on the screen. Now, the Water Research Commission does a lot to protect our rivers and dams. Let's take a look.
The water resource management key strategic area is one of the big KSAs at the Water Research Commission. If you're thinking of the water cycle, where does the rain come from? The atmospheric conditions, the clouds getting together, the precipitation, how much rainfall, where, how intense, for what duration, Where does it fall into on the ground? Where on the surface? And how does it translate into runoff on the soil? But how does it also translate in the soil? How thick is the soil? What type of soil it is? How much recharges the groundwater, and how does it go into our rivers? The main focus of this case is try to assess, try to provide better predictability, to predict so that we can help in planning aspects, in decision-making aspects. And within all of that, we try to see who are those people who are making decisions. And those would be our main clients, our main stakeholders. The large projects, if you like. The one is the WR 2012, which is the Water Resources 2012. And this is an update of the Water Resources 2005, which is a study. It took about 6 years and a few million rand to assess and to update the latest methodologies for assessing water resources. Everywhere in the world, fresh water is facing a lot of problems. Climate change is an outcome of not local activities, but global activities that influence the amounts of water or lack thereof. So you have more prolonged drought periods, you have more pronounced flooding periods, and those, are very difficult to predict. From a water resource point of view, there is first-class legislation, water legislation, that has the best practice. It calls for managing the demand rather than managing your supply, because your supply is limited anyway, but you have to manage your demand. Otherwise, with population growth, climate change, and increased demand for water resources, you will never be able to sustain your, whether economic growth or social upliftment, whilst maintaining your environmental integrity.
The water-linked ecosystem, as the word says, ecosystems, it is a portfolio in the WRC which generates knowledge that is mostly about how the ecosystems respond to the state of water in terms of the water quality and also in terms of the water quantity. We came together and we decided that we would want to focus on those sites in South Africa that are important in terms of having special biodiversity in this country. We identify them, we map them out and put them in an atlas, and this is a very good atlas that has been distributed all over the country, and they can use it for different purposes in terms of planning new towns, planning new establishment, and so on and so on. Ecosystems and water cannot really be separated. For example, I'll give you an example of a wetland. A wetland is a special ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. When it rains, the wetlands with the reeds and all the components of they can be able to absorb and hold water as a sponge. And during dry times, the water is released slowly from the wetlands. Another important thing about it is that if you've got a wetland, when you have got floods, the wetlands can be able to slow down the floods and the disasters that could have been caused by those floods. You may find that they may not really take place. So one thing that we always didn't have in the case was that we didn't have a lot of black researchers in our portfolio. And this year we have managed actually to have 2 or 3 researchers from the previously disadvantaged individuals. And in this particular year, again, we want to go out and motivate more black researchers to apply for the research fund from the WRC, and we will help them along the way.
This is our water saving tip of the week. Don't wash vegetables under a running tap. Wash your vegetables in a bowl. When done, use the same bowl to water your plants around your home. This is our water saving tip of the week.
Be part of the World Water Day celebrations, hosted by United Nations Water and the Government of South Africa, where the 2017 edition of the UN World Water Development Report will be launched 22 to 24 March 2017 at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Conference Center. Register online.
Today is the second day of the Water Conference in Durban. For those of you interested in popping in and being a part of the conference, here are the details on the screen. Remember, it's happening today and tomorrow is the last day. Don't forget to get in touch with the Department of Water and Sanitation. Our details are on the screen.
This is how we come to the end of today's edition of the Water Diary, right here in SABC1 Mzansi for sure. It is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation and SABC Education. Now, bommeli bontate bana work very hard to keep our rivers clean. Let's do it again next week, same time, same place. Hona mona ho SABC1 Mzansi for sure. Lisaleng hande.
The Water Diary, brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation.